Take me out to left field. Give me a shot of Fireball. Give me some high fives from Mark Pena and a hug from Jeff Cross as we stand on top of the tables. Hearing the horns, that's a blast. For it's 1, 2, 3 shots from the cannon with the ladies of left field.
Hey y'all, it's game time with the ladies of left field. I am Jordan here with Kasey and Katie.
Hey y'all.
Hey, y'all.
And we will have a special guest joining us in a little bit. But first, as we do, we're going to hit our hot girl headlines.
I'll get us started. We had the home run derby and the All-Star game over the last couple of days. And the All-Star game was like one of a kind. If you happen to stay up for it, it got kind of wild. If you watch it at all or know the history of it, the National League has not won much in like the last 12 years. And so it was kind of going back and forth. And, we were kind of like, maybe the National League's going to win. And then it got tied up. It was 6-6. And then I don't think anybody knew this. I don't think the players even knew, y'all, that the way they were going to break this tie. I mean, Mark and I were like, well, it doesn't determine, who plays, who gets home field advantage now in the playoffs. Like, there's really no implications, which I think is good, personally. I think that was a dumb idea before. But, so we were like, are they just going to end it in a tie? I went to bed, for real, thinking I was just going to end in a tie. And then I wake up only to see, no, they did a swing off, y'all. A home run derby style swing off. If you watch sports, it's kind of like going to PKs in soccer, penalty kicks. So
I like that though. I love that idea.
I mean, I think for a or for like an all-star game, I mean, not for real life, games, but for a all-star game, it's super fun. So that's what happened. They went to this home run derby swing off, and Kyle Schwarber killed it. And I used to love him because he used to be a Cub, and now he's not. But still, he hit 3 home runs in a row to win it for the National League, which is pretty exciting.
Okay.
This is only the second win for the National League in the last 12 years. Anyways, it was just that's kind of like we said, it's a fun all-star game, new little wrinkle. People are there to watch fun things, and, so that's kind of exciting. Definitely better than ending in a tie. And nobody wants to play extra innings because nobody wants to get hurt. Yes. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be tired.
Right.
So it's kind of a cool thing.
Our guest that's coming up, I was visiting last week, and they had the guest is Amy, one of my best friends, works for Sugarland and Space Cowboys. It's called Cosmic Baseball. So it's like they do 5 innings of regular baseball, and then they take a little intermission, and then they come out and do glow-in-the-dark baseball. And the regular baseball is, they have a few banana ball rules, Savannah Bananas.
Yeah.
For the neon part, after every inning, they do a home run derby. And each home run counts as a run too. So one team was way leading at the beginning of the game, and then with the home run derby, they ended up tying up. It was it ended in a walk-off, actually. It was super fun. But that is all to say, I love a home run derby.
Yeah, very fun. And the home run derby, if you happen to watch that, the day before the All-Star game was also super sweet. The kid who won, his dad was pitching to him. His little brother was catching. It was super sweet. I mean, so in general, what do we think about the swing off rule, or the new wrinkle in the All-Star game?
Oh, well, I think that's a great idea. I mean, just like you said, it adds more excitement. I mean, if you have an all-star game tied after 9 innings, I don't think people are overly enthused about watching more, legit inning baseball. They'd rather see home run derby type style action.
Yeah.
At least I was.
Yeah. No, I fully support this idea. I'm all in.
Right. All right. It's good. Okay. Well, just a little current MLB standings, so we're all aware. The Detroit Lions are leading the American League. They've won 59 games. The Dodgers are in the National League, 58 games won. It's a tight race, though, in the NL Central, the National League Central. My Cubs versus their rivals, the Brewers, only separated by 1 game. The Red Sox have the longest active winning streak with 10 consecutive wins. And we'll talk about the MLB draft, but one of our Longhorns got drafted by the Rockies, and currently they're the worst in the Major League. So maybe Max Blue is going to
only go up.
Yeah, we can.
He can help.
Maybe they need him. So there you go. There's my MLB recap. Casey, you want to talk about tennis?
I will. So Wimbledon concluded over the past weekend, and I really kept up with it pretty in depth for the past couple of weeks. Pretty in depth fashion, more so than I ever have. I mean, I always like Wimbledon, but anyway, Yannick Sinner, he won for the men, and he was the first male Italian to win. Defeated Carlos Alcaraz, and they're currently the top two in tennis. So it was what was expected, but it was still like a hard fought battle. They had played each other in the French Open, and Alcaraz had won that. So they've got the modern day rivalry going, is what's kind of seeming to be in men's tennis. But Taylor Fritz from the United States, he did really, really good. He got to the semifinals. That's who I was pulling for the whole time. I was like totally invested in him. And he's real cute too.
What about Trinity Rodman's boyfriend? What's
Ben Shelton? He also did great. He got to the semifinals. So it was like the American men, there's an upswing in tennis for them. So that's kind of exciting. And it was also a big deal. If you were, especially when you're watching early on, they were making a huge deal about players that had come up through the college ranks that had made it into the actual Wimbledon tournament. So I guess that's a new trend that a lot of guys are, guys and girls, right, are going to college and then they're advancing into the pros as opposed to just stepping into it right out of high school and, jumping into the whole training type thing. We had an American female get into the finals for the fourth year in a row. This year, that was Amanda Anisimova, I believe, and she was definitely a Cinderella story to make it that far. She did lose to, I can't even say her name, I guess, Sawatic or something. But the cool thing that we have is we actually had a Longhorn win in a Wimbledon championship. Lloyd Glasspool won in the men's doubles, and I thought that was totally cool. I think that's like our first or second time that we've had a Longhorn win. It might have been the first in Wimbledon. So
I think you're right. So
actually, Wilmer Allison, I believe, won doubles, and he's like back from the 30s. But he's who
is that who Pena Allison, the tennis center used to be?
Yes.
Oh,
so that's what it was. I knew that there was somebody else but it was like not somebody like current in my mind frame. So anyway, Wimbledon was really cool, and then just for a little golf tidbit, the Open, which formerly used to be called the British Open, begins this Thursday, and it's at Royal Portrush, which is in Ireland. So Rory, Shane Lowry, they are the fan favorites, and we'll get all the they'll get all the attention that way. Of course, Scotty's the favorite, and then all the other big names are they've got their favorite things, but it's a links course. They're gonna deal with weather, all kinds of weather. I think literally they can have like 2 or 3 seasons in one day. Rain, cold, sun will come out, that kind of thing. So that's up next for the golf world. This is the 4th major. And that sums up my hot girl headlines. I will toss it to you, Jordan.
Oh, I love that. I saw Scotty had some good answers this week too, just about life and golf and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Which just like, how can you not root for Scotty Scheffler?
Exactly.
But another guy you obviously can't help from root for. I think everybody knows Michael Taft from his like walk on to All-American story. Today will be 35 days to week 0 college football. SEC Media Days happen this week in Atlanta. And Michael Taft, very cool guy, made headlines not for anything that he said in his press conference, but because he wore a tie with the initials of the victims of the flooding at Camp Mystic that happened over July 4th in Kirk County, Texas. I think it's just really cool that he was thoughtful about it, and he's been consistently thoughtful about that too. Like, I think there was one of the burger places was doing it. It was Pete. Okay, so Pete Terry's was doing fundraisers, and Taft
100% of their profits, which was amazing too. 100%.
Also awesome. But Taft just showed up to sign autographs at those. So really, if you weren't already rooting for him, which I also don't know how you can't be rooting for him, but this is just one reason on the list of reasons to root for Michael Taft. And Texans are obviously still in need of a lot of help. So if you can find it in your heart, if you're willing and able, we have been sharing resources on Instagram, and we will share any other resources that we have coming our way. But obviously tough. We took last week off just because there's nothing you can say on a podcast that's going to be able to put into words the devastation that Texans dealt with last week, and are still dealing with today. So any prayers, any support you can give those people is much needed and will be much appreciated. But again, Michael Taff being awesome, showing up, and that is another 35 days to football, friends. 35 days. So
I love it. Arch recently posted about it, and he just said something cool that I like. He said Taff stood for something steady. He chose heart over hype. He chose community over clicks. He chose to carry the names of those who couldn't walk with him into a room where the nation was watching. He's like, this is what college football really is about. Not just the glory, not just the games, but the people, the ones who stay, the ones who give back, the ones who rise above it all. So I think that's awesome. He's like, no matter what you wear, what color, crimson, burnt orange, you say go Tigers, you say whatever, you still take a moment to stand still, to take a moment to remember. So I think that's, he's like, before football, there is family, and before a rivalry, there is humanity. So I think that was super good way to state that.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, that gave me chills. Dang. Oh, wow. Man, it feels tough to spin it back to sports after that, because
that's okay. We all need some joy sometimes.
I know. We need some levity. Yep. And luckily, who we got coming up will bring a lot of levity. I'm biased, but she is one of my very best friends, and I'm so excited to have her on.
Yeah, we love Amy. We're so excited.
Now it is time to welcome in our special, very, very super special guest, who also happens to be one of my best friends, Amy Johnson. Woo! And
great last name.
Agreed. I used to have it too.
Yep.
So aside from being my best friend, Amy is the marketing director for the Sugarland Space Cowboys, formerly the Sugarland Skeeters, if you older Houstonites. She took over this job in 2022, but she has been all over the minor league baseball landscape. Got a really cool story. She's just super badass woman in sports. So I figured we'd bring her on and chat a little bit about your job, Amy. How's it going?
It's going. I love talking about work because work is my life. So it's just talking about my life.
So fun.
Hey, we did see Kesha you took a break last week. That's okay.
Yes, we did.
We have to have a right conversation about this Kesha concert, because I saw the outfits, but I never really heard about the actual concert itself.
Yeah, agree.
Well, we can come back to that.
That definitely needs to be a sidebar for sure.
But to start off, just tell us how you got started in minor league baseball in the first place.
That is a great question, because it was definitely not my goal. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know what I did was a possibility. So I graduated from UT, obviously. So I graduated in the fall of 2013. And I, at the time, was really into producing. That's how Jordan and I met. We worked at Texas Television together. So we were in the producing scene there. So I was applying for jobs everywhere. I applied for jobs like NASCAR, ESPN, all these different things. And I came across a Facebook post for the Corpus Christi Hucks, they're the Astros AA affiliate. They're hiring for a video intern. And I was like, I didn't even know you could work for a team. Didn't know that was a thing. Didn't know that was a possibility. I don't know if that was just for my lack of research or just things that we didn't know at the time. But I would think I was maybe 5 weeks post grad, and I was like, okay, I need a job. An internship's fine. Let's just see what we can do. So I applied for that and got that job. So I didn't know what I was doing. Luckily, the people who were hiring me took a chance on me. So I took an internship post grad, which that is one huge advice that I tell like a bunch of people. I'm like, don't be scared of like the word internship. Like, sure, I had like 3 or 4 other internships during college, but like I had just graduated. Like they were giving me a chance, like gave me some real world experience. But that turned into a full-time job that they actually like created for me. So they were like, you know, hey, like we really liked having you here, and they created a job for me. So the rest was history. So for 11 and a half years, I've only worked in minor league baseball, but I literally found my job through a Facebook post. I'd been to a few Hooks games before, just with my family and stuff previously, but that's how I ended up landing that. But I was just applying everywhere, you know, like there were plenty of jobs where like I wasn't even like hearing anything back, and it was getting pretty discouraging. Like I was lifeguarding at my local like YMCA at the time, but like, you know, I graduated from UT, I graduated early, like I did all the right things, but I had to like apply so many places. But that's how I ended up finding that internship, which like turned into the full-time role that I have now, I guess, at this point.
So you said a little over 11 years. Where all have you been? Tell us all the stops, your job titles, all the stuff you did.
Yeah, I'm a coastal girl, which is what I've learned. So Corpus Christi was the first stop. So I did a year as an intern, and then that was in 2014. So then 2015 was my full-time role, and then in early 2016, which I realize now every time I moved a job was like always February of that year. I guess it just like always worked out that way. So I've got a cycle. So in February of 2016, I went to work for the Milwaukee Brewers AA team. So they're the Biloxi Shuckers, and that's on the coast of Mississippi. So I basically went from the coast in Texas to the coast of Mississippi. Like I told people, I've never lived further north than Round Rock, Texas, which is crazy. Obviously I've traveled, but that was my next stop out of Corpus. So I took the role of a creative services manager. So I went from a video production intern to a full-time video production coordinator to creative services manager. And let me tell you, I was not prepared for that job. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know that I needed to probably ask for more money at the time. Like I had no idea what I was doing, but you know, full disclosure too, like I was like dating a coworker at the time. He had went to move over there. And so it's like, I got to figure out how to balance both these things. Like, do I take this risk? So I did, went over there. So I was there for 3 years. My title, like I said, was creative services manager, but I did everything. We were a staff of like maybe 10 full-time, like just crazy to think about, especially how little I was getting paid for that. But I basically did all of our design work. So that was like print, video board, social media, stuff like that, which I'd never even opened the program Adobe InDesign, which is how you design programs. I literally just learned that when I got hired. So that was a fun thing to do. But I produced all of our games, and that was like on field and our live production of it, oversaw the promo crew, just like all that stuff. Basically, it's more or less what I do now on like I'm doing a much bigger scale of that, but I was doing that for little pay, lots of hats kind of thing. So it took 3 years, and it was finally time for me to move back to Texas. So I was looking for jobs. I actually was interviewing for a job for the Frisco Rough Riders at the time. It was a ballpark entertainment manager job. So I was like, oh, like this would be fun. Like I want to get back to Texas. Like my brother had just had a kid. I was like, okay, I'm really missing family at this time. And so I reached out to my former boss in Corpus, and I was like, hey, like this is kind of a lateral role for me. Like, what do you think about that? And he's like, well, actually, like we're kind of hiring for that in Corpus. Like, I don't know if you'd want to come back. And like, I'm just not a Dallas gal, you know, like I would be willing to do it. Like I'm willing to take the jump, but I was like, okay, you're telling me I could come back to the coast, work with people I worked before. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Done. So we did some interviews, and I came back on the team there. So I went back to Corpus Christi. So I was there. I came back there in 2019. So I worked there through COVID, got furloughed for a couple months till I got back on the team. I guess that was like November, December. I guess it's probably like, I don't even remember when that was, Jordan.
I think it was December only because we made that beach trip. We came I was like in December.
Yeah, Jordan came and like made a beach trip. We're like, we feel bad for you, so we're gonna come party with you. And I was like, y'all are the best friends ever. I think that was like during COVID. So then I stayed there, and I got hired, basically got promoted to a director role. And that was kind of a really like tough time though in 2021, because it was, we're actually not gonna hire everyone back. You're gonna do the director's role, but we're not gonna like pay you for it yet. But you're gonna do everyone's job until we hire for them, which was the entirety of the season. So 2021 was a very humbling year for me. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of like leadership skills. I kept learning more on like the creative side. I always joke with people, I'm like, I have a degree from YouTube University, because I mean, yes, I love my degree from UT, broadcast journalism, fantastic, got me where it is, but so many like small skills that I know now that I like had to like just learn on the fly. So I was there until 2022, like George said. So then I took the role here with the Sugarland Space Cowboys. So the Astros purchased the Skeeters in 2021. So they were affiliated. So they used to be an independent team before that. So then they rebranded to the Space Cowboys. So I joined 2 weeks after they rebranded the Space Cowboys as the marketing director. So like, here's their new brand. It's all yours, right? So this is the biggest role that I've ever had, and the longest role I've been in. So I've been here for just over 3 years. My track record has been like 3 years, and I move on. So I told my boss, I was like, dude, you're in a good spot. I've been here for more than 3 years. Like, lock it in. But my role now is kind of overseeing our entire brand. So like the Space Cowboys, like that's my brand. So it's marketing, communications, entertainment, fan experience, all of that kind of falls under what I do. So that's where I am currently.
So fun.
So
Yeah.
what's the most favorite thing about your job?
And it's different every single day. It keeps me on my toes. I'm very much like, I'm similar to Jordan, where like we're pretty much just always 100 miles per hour all the time. Like we were just talking a couple of weeks ago, where it's like, hey, like you have a Sunday off, like you should relax. And we're like, what does that mean? So like this job, it just kind of keeps us on our toes. So, I plan 75 different theme nights. I've got 30 giveaways. Like I plan all that stuff, do all those things. And on top of like games too, like it's kind of like gets swept under the rug, but like marketing also handles all of our special events. So there's a lot of times that like we don't get credit for that, but like, yeah, we had sold out ballpark for July 4th. We do a 6-week plus program for holiday lights, but like we're there doing all that too. So here in the next couple of weeks, like I'm going to start planning out our promotion schedule for next season. And then I'm also going to help planning all of our holiday lights schedule for the fall. So it's something different every day. Like we're always going. It really slows down. That's kind of like a plus and minus thing, because I do struggle with work-life balance still, but I've definitely like come a long way with that. But I do love how it's just different every day.
Yeah.
That sounds so fun, Amy. So, kind of capitalize on that. What is like thinking back over your job history? What's one of the coolest like memories you have from your work experience?
Honestly, I think it was last season. I was actually looking back at memories with Jordan. I told her I was like going through old photos and stuff like that. I have done a lot of things. I've done a lot of cool people. I've gone to a lot of cool places. But last year, I got to help design a championship ring, which is something that I never even knew would be on the radar. I got to be a part of 3 different champagne celebrations. We had the best team in minor league baseball last year, which like funny, like the fans don't really care that much about that. Like it's great for social engagement and like the baseball fans on the internet and stuff, but like that's not really what's selling us tickets. But it was something that was really cool to be a part of too. And I oversee all of our creative, all that stuff. So like I can get involved with that too. So like I can shoot video, I can take photos, I can do all that. But, like obviously I have a team to help me, but when it comes to big projects like that, I get to be a part of that. So I got to fly to El Paso at the end of June, and we covered when we clinched the first half. And then 2 weeks later, we had a hurricane here, knocked my power out. And then I got to go to the All-Star game. So minor league baseball had an activation for that. So I went to Arlington, and I got to go to the All-Star game, which was really cool, and do an activation with that. That was a blast of a week. And then at the end of the season, clinched the second half too, which was here at home in Sugarland. So I got to be a part of that. And then we do a 1-game series in Vegas. So I got to go to Vegas for like 36 hours, like didn't sleep much. We won the game, got to cover that. And then I didn't even like think about the ring being a thing. But then my boss was like, well, I was like, we got to design this. And I was like, well, obviously I'm probably the most qualified for this. So it was really cool getting to work with like Garrett Green, actually is one of Jordan's as well. So he works with me as well. He's my broadcaster and my media relations manager. He also went to UT. So I basically got with him and I was like, dude, give me all the cool stuff from this season, and then I'm going to chisel those down. I'm going to figure out which diamonds make sense on this, which looks on this. So that was like really like one of the coolest things I've done. But I've like just met cool people and done so many cool things. Like during COVID, I got to like be the mascot while I was in Corpus. Not something I would have signed up for. I was in a Telemundo commercial as a hook, so like those things are fun too. But I think last year was like okay, wow, like this is peak for me. Like that was pretty cool.
Some cool things about that. First, she also gets to let her friends dress up as mascots. Probably not in Sugarland, but at other places, her friends did get to dress up as mascots. But Amy, how many World Series rings do you have? World Series or National Championship MILB?
I have 1 World Series ring. I have 2 American League Championship rings, and I have our Space Cowboys Championship ring, which I didn't realize when we were designing it that it's actually one size bigger than the World Series ring. So After the fact, I told my boss's boss, I was like, sorry, I didn't know. I should have brought them. They're displayed back there on my case there. So I've got 4 fingers full of rings now. Well, I guess if you count my UT ring, I've got 5. But yeah. When I got the Astros World Series ring, it was the 2022. Like I thought that was like the coolest thing ever, but turns out helping to design your own ring is also a pretty cool up there.
So I have a question. When you were talking about you were talking about that the marketing aspect and the fans not really caring that the Space Cowboys won the league last year or whatever. So what is it that what are the ideas and the things that you do to generate all the fan support, getting them to come out there? Like,
What do you think your best ideas have been, Amy? Or do you have other ones coming up?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. I feel like I had some of my like peak ideas when I was in Corpus. So I was like, okay, well, I can't say that peak because it's my current job now, but I've got like a good team around me. But yeah, we have a really cool ballpark here in Sugarland. So our outfield, pretty much from the foul pole line all the way like past center field, is a kids zone. So we have a splash pad out there, the kids area. Out like kind of by first base on the concourse, we have a free batting cage area. So there's so much to do for just kids and fans and stuff like that. People come and like they'll buy tickets, but then they'll just like stay out in the outfield. So
great idea.
like, it's
to
just
put a splash pad in left field at the dish for the adults.
Yes. Let me know who to talk to. I'll send some pics. We'll make a deck for him. We can pitch it for them. Yes, the adult splash pad sounds like a great idea. But yeah, we have an extremely like family friendly ballpark here, which is actually one of the challenges I faced when I came to Sugarland, because Corpus Christi is such a smaller market. And it's like, okay, like the news stations, like there's 2 of them and they're going to come to every single game. Like here, it's like you're scraping everything just to like get the attention, because I mean, you've got the Texans, you've got the Astros, you've got the Rockets, you have all these like big sports. Like we're just a minor league team. So it's like, what can we do that sets us apart? Like, what are the unique, fun ideas that we have? Like we'll plan everything. Like we'll start planning in the next couple weeks for next season, but we also keep spaces for things on the fly. So last month we did a tribute to the Penny night, and it was just like a last minute thing. Like we're trying, what's something crazy we can do? So like we had someone dress up like Abraham Lincoln and throw out the first pitch. We did tickets for 1 penny. And like it was crazy though, like our in-park attendance like was out the roof for it, you know. And it's just like we get to do fun, crazy stuff like that, and that's not really stuff that you can necessarily do at the major league level, you know. Like there's like hoops to get through, and like there's certain like value to certain things. But for here, it's like, let's try it. Like, why not? What have we got to lose here? So it's just fun because it's like getting to do like, unique things like that. But yeah, a lot of the things that we look for, like what are family friendly, like oriented things, more like that, because that's what our demographic ultimately is out here. You know, we reach Katy and Fairland, and it's kind of this like area in the suburbs of Houston. So, which is I don't know if ironic is the right word, but like I'm like a single 30-ish-year-old that lives inside the loop. So I'm like not at all your target demographic. So I have to do like a lot more work probably than like someone who like actually like was that. But luckily, like, you know, I've got a great team around me, and, you know, I do a lot of research and I'm qualified for what I do at least. But it is interesting trying to be like, okay, well, if I was a parent with a 3-year-old living in Katy, like what would I do? Whereas I'm like, whatever I want to do at a ballpark at a game is like probably not what I want to do for my fans. So that's kind of like, yeah. I'm like, what would me and Jordan do? Okay, we want $2 beers. Like, okay, no one cares about drinking at the ballpark, so let's not do $2 beers.
Well, some of us do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's funny. We've like, it's a question we've asked a lot of people on our show has been like, you know, what do you think should be done at the dish to improve the fan experience? You know, so that it was interesting to hear your ideas. And it's a much different environment. Like the college, you know, environment is much different. And there's so many more, you know, regulations, like you were saying, and rules around like what they can do at the dish because it's tied to a college. But still, it's interesting to hear those ideas as well. So fun.
Yeah, that's all right. That's a funny thing for me too, though, because like I grew up like starting in high school, like my dad, because I grew up in Round Rock, you know, it's like we're 25 minutes away from the dish. So like, you know, I got to like a bunch of the guys play, and like I loved baseball. Like I was like, I want to go, like I just want to watch the game. I want to do that. And like I can tell you to this day, like college baseball is still like my favorite sport over like minor league baseball or major league baseball, which is like funny because like that's not at all like what I do. So like the fan experience that I shoot for a minor league game, like I don't want that out of college, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
because like we want to see the guys perform. Like, you know, we invest in the players at Texas, but like that's just not the case, you know, in the minor leagues. You know, people come through and move through so often. It's like totally different. So it's kind of funny that like the thing that I spend like all like doing is actually not what I'm like most passionate about. But what I love about that though is that we can bring baseball to people that aren't like the baseball savant we are, you know? And so like that's what I love about minor league baseball. It's like it's introducing baseball to families and people who aren't that invested, but it's like showing that that can be like a fun experience for them. So I feel like I can like balance both of those. But it's always interesting that like, you know, how like UT, I know they're like trying different things to get more people involved, to get more students out there and stuff. But I'm like, there's also like a certain line, like this is college baseball, you know, like that's what it is. Like it doesn't have to be a minor league baseball game. Like what are things that you can do to enhance the players? Like do more things, like get to know the guys on the video board, like stuff like that. Because, you know, that's what the fans care about at that level.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you have any ideas on how to improve the fan experience at the dish?
That is a great question. I was like, I feel like I haven't even been to like enough games, or if I do, I'm out in left field and I watch like 2 pitches, and next thing you know, I'm bleep out of that. But no, I mean, I really just think
to get overserved in left field. It's totally fine.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good.
I like that.
But yeah,
I like your video board ideas though. I mean, I think we have that new video board, and it's time to start utilizing it. You know, it's time to start putting it to use and really making a difference there.
I think that personal connection is so huge for the fans to feel like they're personally connected to players is a big deal.
Right.
Yeah. The only thing we've talked about a lot, Amy, is I do think, you know, the dish doesn't lend itself at all right now for like friends being able to kind of hang out and like congregate together. That's why I think left field is a thing. You know, I mean, because I know, you know, we have season tickets inside and like really use them to go to the restroom because we don't want to sit in our seats by ourselves and not be able to like socialize and hang out with our friends. But yeah, I don't know if you have any other ideas. Put them out there.
I mean, I think you have an idea like right there. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Nashville Sounds, but like they have the band bar out in right field, and it's basically just a social area. Like it's a bar and like cornhole and stuff, and like they'll do events out there, but they're like during games and stuff like that. So like people flock there, and it's just like a hangout. So like you said, it's just like left field, but it's in the stadium. So like where, I mean, I don't know where that would be right now. They don't have a ton of space. I mean, you have all the food trucks as well as down the third baseline.
As Ty Harrington, we are a little landlocked and we are low on.
Let's just build it off, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying like in the Yeti yard, make the Yeti yard double decker. You know, I mean, there's some opportunities there. We were like, we'd be great if they could do it. They could do it in left field if they would just like let us do whatever we wanted still.
Yeah, exactly.
Just build it over us. Like build a platform that goes over left field.
Right.
Yeah.
Just needs to clear people standing on the picnic table.
Yeah.
Exactly. The El Paso Chihuahuas, they have in right field, I see it in 4 stories. It could be 3 stories, but it's just like a big bar area, and it's like a different bar at every level. So yeah, it's like you hang out, you go to the game. So it's like it's sick. You want to go to El Paso? Let's go to El Paso trip.
Yes, let's go to El
Paso. Why not?
That's so fun. All right, so yeah, go ahead, Jordan. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna ask, since we're already on the Texas baseball, we're in that avenue. What is your favorite Texas baseball memory? And I put in my notes besides Vegas this year because Katie and I still talk about that.
That was a trip. That was a trip. Man, that's a good question. I mean, there were so many games in college. Like I went to like every Tuesday game. Like I would find either like Jordan or Becca or our friend Steven, like he lived in the same dorm. I was like, dude, let's just go to a game. Like we could just go to a game, talk baseball, and like leave. And it was so great. So all of those were good. But I feel like if we're talking memories, like those are probably like the adult times. Man, that's a good question. Honestly, when you came down for your birthday, was that this year or last year? But we finally did. It was after a game, but we did the Cotton Eye Joe with the cans. Actually, it doesn't really relate to Texas baseball, but it happened in left field, so it counts, right? We had been dying a game. Yeah, post game, we were helping collect the cans. Like that probably counts. Man, I've never been to Omaha, so I feel like if I went to Omaha, that would just like trump everything. Obviously.
We're counting on next year. Put it in your calendar now. Omaha.
I know. Let's manifest it. Let's manifest it.
Here we are.
Yeah. probably just doing that. Honestly, like I just like love going to left field. I get a little scared like bringing new people in there every time. Like I brought a guy this year and he was just like, what the actual is this? And I was like, I'm just not gonna explain, it's fine. So,
I'm just remembering though that was the time he came out and the guy is an A&M fan, and I just he came at the end of the game, and I was I came in hot. Is all I can say.
Everybody.
I think it was was it the day of the sweep too? So I was just.
Oh yeah, like we swept A&M, so naturally
the
most
excited you could be.
Oh, we were all
running Aggie there, right? That's right, Amy.
Yeah, I mean, like I knew what I was getting into, but I was like, let's make this brief. Let's make some hellos. Let's get out of here. And then and of course, Forrest was like, let's shotgun. And Jordan's like, I'm gonna chug some champagne. And it's just like, all right, we're doing this. Let's go. So, good times.
Good times.
It's always fun. And we did have a great time in Vegas. We've told the story often that like I just look over and Jordan is like literally, like rolling, laughing on the floor, on the ground. And I was like, what just happened? And you're all like dying.
That was a trip. I can't believe Jordan and I made it out to like a club. We went to go see one of my favorite DJs who just happened to be in town. And like we were out till like 5 a.m. and then we were back up the next day. And I was like, Vegas just changes you. Like we were acting like we were 25 again. I'm proud of us for the way that we rallied for that.
Absolutely. Never again until next year in Vegas if we get invited back.
Until next year. Yeah. Until the next year. Never again until the next year.
Never again, and then pulled that in LSU weekend. The next weekend downtown. Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I remember saying, I was like, I'm not staying out that late again. And then I looked down and we're out on 6th Street at 2 a.m. And I was like, what? How did we why are we here?
How did we get here? Also a great question. Why are we here? Also a great question. I got my wallet stolen that night.
Oh, that's right.
It was a doozy. It was a doozy.
Yeah, I remember y'all going to that rave or that DJ situation and y'all coming into that bar and I was like, let's get espresso martinis. And y'all were like, yeah, perfect.
We need.
Then the rest of the night is history.
Exactly.
All right. So to flip it, Amy, a little bit, we've talked all about the good things about your job, but like, what is the hardest thing about your job?
All right. How much time do we have? No, I'm just kidding. I will say work-life balance, which I'm still working on. I do think that 2020 kind of helped that for a lot of people. But I feel like I'm kind of I wouldn't say it's a unique situation, but I would say I'm in the minority in this, but like I'm in the management level, like I'm at the director level. I'm probably one of very few that aren't in a like stable relationship or married with kids and things like that. Like I'm kind of just like doing my own thing. When I come home, like, like I'm reporting to me and it's my job. It's like I work a 6-game series and I'm working 12-hour days. Like I don't have someone to cook for me. I don't have someone to go to the grocery store for me. I don't have someone to do my laundry for me. But it's like the boss is like, oh, well, you should just take off some games. I'm like, okay, but my entire staff is working every single game. Like I want to be there for them. So like I really struggle with like being able to step away and do that. And like I love being at games. Like that's my favorite part about working because like I want to see, like obviously I oversee the fan experience. So I want to see what the fan experience is. I take a lot of laps during games. Like I see what people are doing, but I really struggle with, balancing myself. I will say like last year was one of the most fun years probably to date of my entire life. I took a lot of trips. I did things. I think coming to Sugarland really helped me with that because 2021 was just really hard in Corpus, because it was like still working everyone's job, still not getting paid for my job. And like it burned hard. I was in an absolutely horrible, like toxic relationship that was like tearing me down at the time. And so I was just like, what am I doing here? Like this is horrible. So like I made the change here and it's like, okay, well I have a chance for a fresh start. Like, okay, I'm going to take all these trips that I had planned. Like they're going to figure out how to like do it without me. And like they do. And boss is supportive now of me too. And like, he understands, he's like, yeah. And he's like, you need to take care of yourself. It's just like being in a relationship. Like if you can't take care of yourself, you're going to take care of everyone else, So it's like, if I can't take care of myself, how am I going to take care of my employees and stuff like that? So I'm still struggling with it. But I'm working on it. And, I know Jordan clapped. She's like, yep, we went to a concert the other day. That was good. Last year, I think I left a game early. So Jordan working, our other college roommate went to a game. I left early for it. We were supposed to come home and have a chill night, and we ended up out on Washington, which are the bars here, which we like had no business doing, but we had a great time. So I make sure I'm doing things like that, but it's definitely like really hard trying to balance that. Getting routine like workout schedule, like it's not possible. Wanting to train for a race or something, like I don't even start thinking about that until like August, because that's not realistic with the schedule. And like real talk too, like relationships are hard. Like if you're not, and like I'm a state, women are at a disadvantage of this, because like naturally, like the men that are like in these leadership positions, like their wife is not working a job typically that works as many hours. I mean, like there's exceptions to that and everything too, but it's just like they don't understand like everything that goes into that. So like that's been a struggle. I was in a relationship for 5 years, like one of the ones I was talking about earlier, and like it was great. We worked together and everything, but like we finally got to the point where it's like, well, we both do this and we both don't make enough money. So like, how are we going to support a family? And like we eventually like parted ways and things, because it's like, how do you decide that your job's more important than theirs? Like, who's going to make the sacrifice? Like, they're hard decisions that you have to make, And then like the next one I was talking about, it's like I explained from the beginning before I even like committed. I was, this is my job. Like, this is what you can anticipate. And it's like, okay, cool. And then you get in it and they're like, oh, okay. And, and it like got to the point where like it was like used again and stuff like that. And it's like people, they don't understand until they're like really there for it. And like, obviously there are people, that will, and like eventually like I'm going to hopefully, find that person that like does understand, or else I'll, I guess retire from this. But I told everyone I was retiring after 10 years and this is my 12th season. So I think I'm in it for good at this point. But I think there's just some, like, there's like a minority in this, and like I would love for there to be a focus group. So if you guys ever talk to more like women in leadership in minor baseball that aren't married with kids, like that would be great, because I think that is just like something really hard that, like, I wouldn't say it's like a struggle, but it's definitely something that like I have to work on and I have to balance. But I usually just text Jordan. I'm like, Jordan, can I vent? Jordan, can I vent? Jordan, can I vent? Send her unending like voice
text popping up
issues. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
But
that would be interesting for you to, I don't know, like reflect on, because I think you worked in a big sports position for a really long time that
Yes.
had very strange hours, and that put you on call all the time, and you went to every UT football game, and you were and I don't know, I mean, you had relationships for sure, but I mean, you didn't get married until you were kind of almost done with that job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make any connection for you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And when I was young and starting out at UT, I was having to help with camps and the same, like in baseball, we're working baseball season, then we'd have summer camps all the way to the middle of July. And then, even though you're not in season in the fall, back then school started. So you had to help get a whole team of, young boys, on the team and their parents, all the freshmen, it was a lot different, landscape back then. But, yeah, so it was like, I mean, I was working, I can remember being especially in that 20 to early 30s, just work, and then I could still do the whole going out in the middle of the week too thing, Amy, then I don't know.
Kasey's going out with us at the 6th Street next time I'm in town.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, yes, I can definitely, you're all of a sudden, and being around every coach or the other men, yeah, they're married, but just like you said, most of them's wives were at home with their kids, or making sure their kids got to all the places that they did, because their husband certainly wasn't doing it because he was at the facility, from crack of dawn till pretty much nighttime. Mm-hmm. So
yep.
Yeah, it's definitely, it is a thing for sure for women, especially when they're, young. And then you finally, as you just said, as I got older, there came a point where I was kind of like, I'm doing all that. And like our little interns in the office can be here and do those things, because they're the ones that think they want to work in sports. So you go get them.
You go learn today.
Exactly.
That is a nice idea for a dating app for people who just work in like sports or off hour, off time or very busy jobs.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Just some app.
It's like, how do you feel about seeing your partner once every 3 weeks for 2 hours? They text you once a day every 2 hours. It's like,
send us over to the Dateable AF ladies and see what they can work on. See what they can cook up for this.
Exactly.
being very flexible and understanding that when I'm available, it's time to do stuff. And when I'm not, sorry, you're on your own.
Yep, exactly. I hope that wasn't like too deep of an answer, but it's
No,
true.
no, that's good conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I understand.
I think a lot of young women too, like they want to be successful. And now that there's so many women in behind the scenes in sports, like the doors are opening. Like you said, when you graduated, you didn't know it was a job, but obviously there are a ton of people who would like to do this, but there's, it's not all fun and gay. It's also, there's some difficult realities, but if you love what you do, like, you'll work through it. So I'm glad you brought that up. Cause that's, like Kasey does, I deal with that issue all the time. The time is just difficult when you're traveling or working or at a homestand that's, 2 back-to-back homestands and you're home for 7 hours in 3 days.
I guess I should not really help myself because I keep just meeting guys that don't live in my city. So, here, like, I'm like trying to make something work with someone that lives like 3 hours away. But honestly, like, he's been like the best person that's worked with this. He's like, oh, cool. I can't see you for 3 weeks. That's fine. That's cool. When he was like, I'm like, dang, like, I was like, how do I get that for someone that like lives here? So I kind of like hurting myself in that case. But I always told Jordan, it's like every time I travel, it's like I get to like be myself when I go other places. So that's when I end up like meeting people because I don't have time to like sit on the apps and like I don't have time for that. So that's why I don't ever like meet people here. So it's like the only times I go and do stuff, it's like, oh, visiting Jordan and Charlotte, going back to Austin and like doing things. And I'm like, well, it's unfortunate that that's where I'm meeting people. But you know what? Here we are. We're making it work.
Make it work. I know you're part of an organization for women in sports in the entertainment business in the Houston area. What is that? And like, what do y'all do? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'd love to plug that. It's called WISE, so it's Women in Sports and Events, and it's actually a nationwide organization. So they actually have different chapters in every city. There may be one in Austin, actually. Y'all should definitely look into that. Well, Jordan, you're in Charlotte. Maybe there's one in Charlotte. Very, very likely might be.
Googling right now.
Yes. So it's called WISE. So I'm in the Houston chapter, and obviously there's a lot of sports in Houston. There's a bunch of like events too. So like we have people that work for, like different companies like rent out furniture for events and like things like that. So it's really cool. But we do a bunch of networking events. So all the major sports teams, which I'm looping up the space. Cowboys is a major sports team, of course. We'll host events that are all part, and it's just networking things. We have 4 or 5 main like signature events. So I help out with our signature events committee. So it's like we do one on financial fitness. So we get people that come and talk about finance stuff. We do a big like speed dating, but it's like a networking type thing. And it's just really cool. I mean, they do stuff monthly. Like it's really hard for me to make it to a lot of those things, but I also can't use that as an excuse because everyone else in the organization works in sports and events. So it's like, oh, I can't be busy. It's like, well, we all are. So, but we do cool stuff too. And like, I've met a lot of like really cool friends like that too, that I like work with outside of work. I know people that have gotten other jobs because of it. So that's been a cool thing for me too. Cause I mean, it's hard. Like, I mean, going back to work-life balance thing, like it's hard for me to just go out and like meet people and friends because I want time by myself. So like, that's kind of like a mixture where it's like, oh, I can meet people in the industry, but like we can also have, 4 glasses of wine while we do it and like arts and things like that. So that's been really cool. And like, I definitely like would recommend like anybody that works in the sports and events scene at all, like look and see if you have a little chapter too. Cause like, that's been really cool. Luckily like my organization pays for the membership, but it's not very expensive. It's just like a yearly fee. And I was just talking to one of my other friends too, she works part-time in sports and we were talking about joining and I don't remember what the cost was. It was super cheap. Like, oh, I'm going to do that. And like the membership covers itself. Most of the events, like we'll have food or drinks and stuff like that. So it's like you go to one event, like your membership's paid for, but the networking obviously is like the invaluable part of it.
There is a Charlotte chapter. Just
hey, well, you need to get involved.
I will be joining that.
Yes. Look at that. Look.
All right, Amy, what would be your dream job? Like in the minor league, major leagues, like if you could put it out there, to the universe, to all of our podcast listeners.
That's a good question. I kind of feel like I'm a little bit there already. Like not to say that I feel like I've peaked by any means, but I have a fun team around me that is great. Like I've gotten to the point where I actually have it. So I have 6 full-time underneath me. which some minor league teams will be like, oh my God, like that's huge. And other ones will be like, oh my God, that's nothing. You know, like there's like 35 people with the Astros that do what me and my 16 people do, you know? So it's things like that. But, you know, they're fun, and like my boss is supportive and kind of helps me with my flexible work schedule. And he encourages me to. I don't know that I necessarily utilize that as best as I can, but ultimately, like when I'm at my life where like happiness is what I'm looking for. So like what brings me joy, and like what am I gonna do that makes me happy? And people like, you want to be like, do you want to work for the Astros? And I'm like, maybe, you know, like if it was like the right role. But like I literally oversee an entire brand right now. Like Jordan was like, hey, who do you need to talk to about getting this podcast? I was like, me. I'm the person who approves, you know. So it's like I, you know, approve everything that has to do with our brand. You know, I oversee the creative direction. I oversee like that's pretty cool. You know, like I have to step back and look at that sometimes, because like I'm not necessarily like running around like bragging about that kind of thing, but Jordan seems to like bring that out of me. Like we help remind each other that like we do cool things. So you know, I'm probably doing what I'm doing, but like making more money. That's probably a best way to put it. But you know, I just really enjoy that. And, you know, as long as it's something that like makes me happy, is really like what I'm looking for. So I don't know if that's like the best answer for that. Last two, like, oh, you want to be like a general manager, but like honestly, like knowing the workload that goes on that and how hard it is for me to already balance what I'm doing, I'm like, not necessarily. You know, and like one of the most rewarding part of my jobs too is like seeing people like succeed and like move on. And I have so many people that have done that. You know, it's like the leadership side of it's like really cool. So you know, I just want to be at a place where I can keep like leading people and getting them into new, bigger and better places, and a place where I can have fun. And like the Space Cowboys is a really cool brand. So people love that logo. So luckily it's not like the Sugarland acorns or something. Like I don't know that I'm you know, attracted to that brand if that was it. So that's cool too. But you know, being in Houston is awesome too, because like I'm an Astros fan, and you know, I've more or less have like been that for my whole life. So like I live 12 minutes from the ballpark. I don't go to as many games as I probably like could. You know, that's one of like the nice perks of working, you know, with the Astros ownership owning us too. It's like I can get free tickets and stuff like that. But I'm in a pretty good place right now. I can't complain too much.
I people ask me all the time too. They're like, I assume you want to be a superintendent. And I'm like, never. I would never in a million years want that job. That sounds horrible. I was like, you know, same thing. It's like all about happiness and balance, and like, yeah, you know, being in a place that really fits you and fits your needs. And then, you know, I'm like, God, no, like that amount of, I don't know, politics and, I don't know, what's the word I always say sometimes? Like, I don't know, it's not right, but like publicity too. Like I would never want that in a million years. No. Anyway,
Right.
I get you.
Exactly.
Great answer.
Well, last thing before we let you go, what is your biggest piece of advice to someone who might be graduating soon and just wants to start their career in minor league baseball?
Say yes. Like when you're at that age and you're just getting out, like say yes, move across the country, something new, meet new people. Like you have got to say yes to that, which is crazy, because if you're asking me what I would tell somebody in the industry for 10 years, I would tell them say no. You know, that's something I'm teaching myself now, is like say no to things. But like at that point, say yes, because doing that got me to the brand. Like I moved to Mississippi. Like what? Like never in a million years I think I moved to Mississippi. But like I grew so much in that role. I learned so much about myself. I learned so many skills. Like with like the WISE group, like sometimes it's intimidating to go to that, but like I meet new people. So I think it's important to be extremely open-minded. You know, send those LinkedIn messages. Like we may not read them, we may never get to them, but it is not going to hurt to send them. Like there's not negative out of that, unless you say something like creepy. Just don't be creepy. But like honestly, you know, reach out, you know, like one in every like 10 emails, like I'll try to like get to from like, hey, just like want to chat with you. Like I might not get to all of those, but like I'm going to get to some of them, you know, and there are other people who maybe in roles like me, and like maybe they do get to all of those, you know, like it doesn't hurt. So like you've got to say yes, you've got to be willing to do new things, and you have to learn how to take criticism. You cannot take that personally. That is something that I see far too often with a lot of our like new interns and stuff that come in. You know, like I'm very protective of my brand, and like if you have idea not, you know, going with like our brand guidelines, I'm going to say no to it. But that doesn't mean that you're a bad employee. That just means that your idea doesn't align with our brand. It's like you've got to learn how to take feedback. And I learned that at like a super young age too, you know, because like I used to kind of overspeak in staff meetings when I was like in my career. My boss was like, all right, those are conversations we can have like in our department, but like you don't need to tell like the VP of sales that it's a bad idea. And I was like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. You know, and I learned from that too, you know, so it's like say yes. And like you've got to learn how to like take feedback. Like you can't take that stuff personally.
Good advice.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally just took like a giving and receiving feedback on our like HR team building week last week at work. So like that transcends anything too. That's such great advice, even if you're not going into minor league baseball. Like,
Yeah.
I would say work life in general. Work anything you're life.
Yeah. It's like very rare that like the feedback is going to be personal. Like obviously like the people like myself and you guys, like we're in these roles for a reason. Like we obviously know what we're doing. So as like a young person, like you should acknowledge that and like understand like, oh, okay, like that's their job. They're supposed to do that. Like, oh, okay, cool.
I know a lot of young people will tell me, well, I just take this job so personally. I'm so invested in it. I'm like, well, that's a good thing. You can personally be invested, but you can't take feedback personally. It's not about you. It's about, and so then like be excited about taking that feedback and growing yourself and becoming better. So because you do take this so personally. I'm like, it's a different, I was like, you have to distinguish between the two. I try to tell new teachers all the time. I'm like, you can personally love this job and take it very, you know, but don't take feedback personally because that's not how it's intended. Yeah. It's a big,
yes. Write it on the walls. Write it on the walls.
Yep.
Well, it's so good to see you and hang out with you, Amy. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh, I love catching up with Amy. Always makes me happy. But on the baseball thread, some guys that will be heading into the minor leagues, hopefully. We'll see them shortly. MLB draft happened this past week. And Texas had some good news, I think. So, Katie, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say some good news. I mean, I think we're going to maybe miss some players and have to, you know, find some people still, but that's all right. We are happy for some of these guys. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but Max Ballou was taken by the Rockies. That was the first Longhorn to be taken in the draft. He was taken as the 74th pick to the Rockies. So happy for Max. It was, you know, we're super close with his family. I texted his mom right afterwards, and Diane does definitely want to come on and talk about it all and her, you know, fave memories from being a Longhorn mom. So yeah, go Max Ballou.
Yep, good for him. Jared Spencer and Jalen Flores were taken in the 11th round. Jared went to the Toronto Blue Jays and Jalen to the Cardinals. And Rylan Galvan went in the 13th round to Chicago White Sox, and Grayson Saunier was in the 17th round to the Houston Astros. So, you know, gets to remain in the Houston or in the Texas system, if you will.
And maybe he might be playing for Amy's Space Cowboys.
Exactly. One of those.
Cute.
Aiden Moffett was with Texas for a short time, but still a Longhorn, and he signed with the Cubs after the draft concluded. And then we also had Texas had quite a few signees that were drafted. Gavin Feynman in the first round, Kason Cunningham in the first round. Probably not going to see those guys now.
Exactly.
Jack Moriknek, 11th round, which Logan says that he will not be coming to Texas now.
Oh.
Yeah. Luke Dotson, also the 11th round. Xavier Mitchell, 13th round. Caleb Freeman, 16th round. And Grayson Bowles, 18th round. As usual, Texas signing class gets decimated in the draft, but I guess that's a good thing. Like, they were good enough to want to come to Texas. Now they're going to go play in the league. So
just telling you, if any of these high school boys want to reconsider, and if they're good, because, you know, being a college athlete at the University of Texas and a baseball player is kind of a big deal. You have a lot of
NIL.
You get a lot of, there's an NIL money these days, and you just get to be like this badass in Austin who basically just gets to like live a little bit of a, you know, I don't know, like mini Hollywood lifestyle here in Austin, Texas.
So I believe I saw that. So it's August 1st. They have till August 1st to make their decision.
Okay.
Correct. And which is the different now, if I'm correct on that date, because it used to be it was all the way up until they went to their first day of class, which was just brutal and the draft happened in, you know, way back in in my time of working in college baseball, the draft was on June 1st. You'd basically, if they didn't sign, if they sat there and like played the games with the team that drafted them, they would just string us along all the way till, we think they're coming, and then the day before or the morning of, they sign their pro contract and don't come. It was like, ugh.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping August 1st is right.
Yeah, me too.
So,
well, go Horns.
Yeah.
Those who go to the majors and minors, and I hope you do well, and I hope you represent us well, and
right.
And those high school kids, if you're really good and then you want to come to Texas, come on back.
Yep.
We'll hang out with your parents and we'll show them a very good time in the field.
We got you. All right, y'all. Good times.
All right, friends. Until next time, we'll see y'all in left field.
See you in left field.
Yeah, see you in left field.